They don't get enough respect in this family, in this community, in this job. Not losing enough weight. And not getting enough exercise. Maybe how about this one? There's not enough green space around here anymore. Not enough, not enough, not enough. I have so many problems. No one cares about me. But what about waking up in the morning with a new curiosity? That this is a whole new day that I've never seen before. There's a very wise Rabbi, Abraham Joshua Heschel. He said that our goal should be to live life in radical amazement. Get up in the morning and look at the world in a way that takes nothing for granted. Everything is phenomenal. Everything is incredible. Never treat life casually. And I was sharing this with Eileen before. To be spiritual is to be amazed. To be spiritual, Meg and I were talking about, what does it mean to her? Or kids say, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. Well, what does it mean to be spiritual? So you can share that with them. To be spiritual is to be amazed. Right? To live with a sense of wonder. What new surprises that I've never seen before does Krishna have in store for me today? Gratefulness opens the door to joy. And in moments of surprise, we catch a little glimpse of that joy. So what if could we maybe wake up in the morning with a little bit of a gratitude intention? Thank you, Krishna. You have once again awakened me. In curiosity, could I welcome a whole new day with a new way of thinking? I did not deserve another day. I did not deserve another breath of life. Still, you have gifted this day to me. Thank you. How can I please you today? Please show me how I can serve you today. I'm standing on the brink of a whole new day. I'm so curious. What will it bring? Please show me the way. I want to share something very interesting that Srila Prabhupada said. Srila Prabhupada said, we wake up in the morning thinking, I have so many problems. But he said, but really our only problem is, how can I accept Krishna? Isn't that interesting? That's the only problem. How can I accept Krishna? So, yeah. So I was thinking that, when I chant japa, I'm trying to pray, Krishna, please accept me. I am yours. That's a nice prayer when you're chanting japa. But, so I'm asking Krishna to accept me, but what about the ways that I'm not accepting Krishna, right? Curiosity. So how can I accept him, his words? How can I accept his instructions in Bhagavad Gita and everywhere, right? How can I accept him? I'm asking him to accept me, but how can I accept him? So I wanted to share with you that there are 4 C's. Sometimes these acronyms are very helpful. So the first one is curiosity. Be curious. Be open to surprise. What is this new day, this new moment, this new situation, new interaction, new exchange, new relationship I find myself in? I just met so many beautiful women for the first time this weekend, right? Wow! What a joy, right? Somebody said at lunch, who was it? Somebody said at lunch, I haven't felt the Holy Spirit like this in all the times I've been to church in the longest time. Something like that was so beautiful. Yeah. So, okay, so surprise It's a new exchange, new situation, new relationship. Be curious. So then number 2, this next C is catch it. Catch your thought pattern. Catch it. And number 3, check it before it becomes a feeling. You know, in Bhagavad Gita talks about thinking, feeling, and willing. These are the impetuses to action. So first we might think of something. Then if we don't catch it, it can become a feeling, good or bad. And then if we don't catch it at that point, we might will it. I gotta go get it, right? Good or bad, right? Okay, so the second one is catch it. Catch your thought pattern. And number 3, check it. Check it before it becomes a feeling. And then number 4 is choose a response, right? We are response-able. Don't just react. So first comes thinking, then feeling, then willing. I think of something, I feel like I want it, and I will that I have to go get it. So wait, stop, pause. You know, like in traffic, right? There's a green light, then there's the yellow light, and then there's red light. Stop, pause, and then with deliberation and discernment, go forward to act. So 4 C's. I think it's helpful. There's a really beautiful prayer. I was in the Czech. Where is Vrinda here? I don't know if she's here. But anyway, she's from the Czech Republic. There's a beautiful prayer someone shared with me from her grandmother. I don't know if it's from the Orthodox tradition or from the Roman Catholic tradition, but it's a beautiful prayer spoken in a spirit of adventure that I really, really like. We're talking about adventure on the way down, right? Where's, on the way down we're talking about adventure. Okay, so here's this nice prayer. It's spoken in the spirit of grateful adventure. Where's Shana? There you are. She's the adventurer. There you are. I was looking for you. Okay. Oh God, who gives unbelievable adventures, please fill our hearts with the tenderness of your love, so that we love you in everything and above everything, and in this way attain the fulfillment of your promises, which surpass all our desires. Isn't that a beautiful prayer? Grateful adventure. I really like that. So again, be open to surprise and the new adventure that Krishna is here right now, today, unfolding in your life today, in this moment. And here's another funny thing Srila Prabhupada said. Somebody asked him, because he was always jolly and laughing, and so somebody asked him, well, what is laughter, Prabhupada? And he said, the definition of laughter is seeing the difference between what you thought would happen and what actually happens. And then he started laughing. He was always so attuned to the absurdity in the world. You know, it's funny, right? It's like a child would laugh at some kind of silliness, right? So Krishna describes himself to be the source of all material and spiritual worlds. And he says everything is strung on him like pearls are strung on a thread. We're all stringing beads, right, before? So Krishna said that, and if you have a bracelet or a necklace that's strung properly, you won't see the thread. Because if you're seeing the thread, where's Brittany? There you are. If you're seeing the thread, that means it's not really strung properly, and it probably will be breaking. So here's Krishna. He says everything is strung on him like pearls are strung on a thread. He's that unseen thread, and he's okay to be unseen, to just be the foundation of all existence. And we don't even see him. We don't even care about him. We don't even consider him. Isn't that something?
And then if we didn't string our malas properly, means that we're just remembering Krishna that is always there.
Yeah, well, somehow remember Krishna, whether you strung it properly or not. Because that's, there in Sanskrit it says, Yena Tena Prakarena Manak Krishna Nivesaya. So somehow or other remember Krishna, whether you strung a power or you didn't, right? So, he's our dearmost friend. And his dear devotee Arjuna accepts him like that. We're talking about Krishna, please accept me. And then how can I accept Krishna, right? So Arjuna accepts him like that. And he says, I totally accept this truth, all that you have told me. So my question to myself and to all of us is, can I or can we begin to try to accept Krishna as his dear devotees, like Arjuna accept him? And then Krishna says, yes, Arjuna, know that all beautiful, opulent, glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. And Krishna so kindly says, take shelter in me, I will protect you. Do not fear. Like a little child is fearless, holding the hand of the mother or father. Actually, I want to interject here. I have this one of my best friends is this, believe it or not, this Catholic priest who lives in Washington, D.C. He lives in a monastery. And he's one of my closest friends. And he told me that once he was in the church and he knew he was alone and he was looking at the scripture and he was hearing this voice, Philip, Philip. And he's looking around. He knows no one's there. He's hearing this voice, Philip. And then here's this voice that was obviously God would be the same. Do not fear. Live the gospel. Philip, live the gospel. Do not fear. So it's everywhere, that we're being told, do not fear. Yeah, so a little child is fearless, holding the mother's hand, holding the father's hand, and so she's fearless. Curiosity over judgment, judging myself, judging others, and instead of be curious, like a little simple child. But the trouble is, I think I'm a big grown-up woman, and I'm self-sufficient, and I don't need anybody. And so I'm making all these limiting assumptions about myself and everybody else, right? But what, again, to honor the Christian tradition, what did Jesus say? To become like a little child if you want to enter the kingdom of God. So what does it mean? It means to develop a childlike, not childish, but childlike simplicity, humility, trust, and dependence on Krishna, our Supreme Father, our most beloved, our super soul, our super friend. So on the path of Bhakti Yoga, we're seeking love, loving service to the Supreme Lord Krishna and all living beings as his beloved parts. And the Supreme Lord Krishna loves us and has always loved us more than we can imagine, in spite of all the ways that I've rejected him, life after life after life. And that is the great mystery of his love, right? And there's no surprise more mysterious, more magical than the surprise of being loved. Think about that. There's no surprise, nothing more mysterious or magical than being loved for who we really are, right? Without the games, without the masks, right? And the opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is fear. And love is the antidote to fear. So here's another acronym that might be helpful. FEAR. F-E-A-R. An acronym for fear we might consider false evidence appearing real. False evidence appearing real. But maybe we can transpose it, maybe we can flip it to be F for focus. Focus on the present moment, like Shameshwari is saying. Breathe in the present moment. Fear is about a future focus. Fear is a worry over the future, thinking that I'm temporary, I'm destructible matter. And then what about E? Expose, not escape, but expose. Face the fear of discomfort, disapproval, or rejection. Tolerate, and notice the beauty of the trees. Notice the fragrance of the trees. And notice the beauty of the present moment. Expose. And then A, approach, not avoid. Small incremental steps to a goal or progress. I am capable of change. I can be an agent of change. Approach mentally with tiny steps. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Srila Prabhupada says, failure is the pillar of success for someone who's trying. Isn't that beautiful? Failure is the pillar of success for someone who's trying. And then R, rectify my understanding and rehearse it a lot, practice it. I'm trying to see in a new way. The fear I feel is not me. The fear I feel is not me. I'm taking shelter of you, my dear Lord Krishna. I'm a sacred part of you. You are my eternal friend and well-wisher. And you are the owner, controller, and enjoyer of all things. You have my back. And you have my best interest at heart. I am eternal, ever existing in knowledge and joy, but I have forgotten you. So, yeah, practice, rehearse. Practice a new pattern of articulating it to yourself. See and hear your own sincerity, praying to Krishna. Like when you're chanting, sometimes we're beating ourselves up. I'll never get this. My mind keeps wandering. Forget it. I'm terrible. But what about trying to hear the sincerity of your own voice calling to Krishna? Just try to hear or see your own sincerity. The Islamic poet Hafez says, fear is the cheapest room in the house. I would like to see you living in better conditions. So we talked about curiosity, simplicity, the gratitude of being surprised, living with a sense of amazement, a spirit of adventure in service to God. We talked about love being the antidote to fear. So curiosity is also a beginning of faith. Sometimes faith, like we hear in Bhakti that faith is the first step. But curiosity is also a type of faith. When Krishna in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says there are 4 kinds of people who begin to approach him. Someone who's suffering, which is probably most of us. Someone who's financially distressed, which is some of us. Someone who's curious. And someone seeking knowledge of God or the absolute truth. So that's the beginning of faith, to be curious, to allow myself to be curious. So, since tomorrow is the appearance day or birthday of Lord Ram, I wanted to share a few stories of, see how our time goes. I wanted to share a few stories of some of the women in his pastimes who I think exemplify some of these qualities. So, have any of you heard the name Shalbari? Some of you, Shalbari? So, Shalbari means that she was like a woman out of the forest. And she was the daughter of a family of hunters. She was basically an outcast from regular Vedic or Varnashram society, like most of us really, right? We don't fit anywhere in that scheme. So she was kind of like us. And her parents were planning this big wedding for her. And her father collected 1,000 goats and sheep. And they were like 1,000 goats and sheep. And she asked her father, well, why do you bring so many goats and sheep here? And he told her, to ensure your good fortune, your future happiness in your marriage, we're going to sacrifice these animals. And she's like, what? She was just a simple young girl, but she was compassionate, right? And she was curious. And she's thinking, why? For my happiness, we're going to kill all these innocent animals? And she just couldn't get a hold of that, She couldn't stop thinking about it. So this is the night before her wedding, night before her big fancy marriage. And she's just up all night. She's up all night. And she's thinking, why should we cause pain to all these innocent animals just for my happiness? Why? How does that make sense? So she was asking the big why question, right? Why? With Y with a capital W, right? She was conflicted. And it was a moment of introspection for her and a moment of suffering. Right? Imagine, put yourself in her shoes. The night before your big wedding, right? Every girl dreams about her wedding, right? So this is a night, she's up all night pondering this and suffering. So I wanted to quote, there's a beautiful quote from a Christian theologian, maybe you've heard his name, Paul Tillich. He said, suffering introduces you to yourself. Did you hear that? Suffering introduces you to yourself and reminds you that you're not the person you thought you were. It carves through the floor of what you thought was the basement of your soul, and it reveals a cavity. Suffering reveals who we are in truth. At that point we can choose, and here's the really great end to his statement, at that point we can choose to be broken or to be broken open. Right? So, sometimes you hear when people are reflecting on their lives and the most meaningful moments in their lives, they never say, yeah, it was that Hawaiian vacation. Or it was, when I got that really expensive cashmere coat. No, it's always like something broke me open. It might have been that cancer. It might have been when someone I loved passed away, But so this is our choice, to choose to be broken by this world or broken open. So that night, Sabari chose to be broken open. She left her home that night, dressed in her animal skin. That's her usual family dress. She's from a family of hunters, right? That's what they wear. So she's dressed in this animal skin. And in those days, holy mendicants lived in ashrams, in hermitages in the forest. So she walked out of her home, she walked out of everything she knew, everything that was familiar. She walked into the unknown forest, left her home and family, and she went knocking on the gates, knocking on the doors of these different ashrams of sadhus, asking them to give her shelter, to give her... Someone said they have a yoga studio called... Sangha ashram, right? Yeah, so beautiful. So she was looking for Sangha. She's looking for the Sangha ashram, right? So she's looking for someone who would give her shelter, give her a little service to do. And these sadhus, so-called sadhus, right? They would take one look at her. She's a girl. She's a young girl. She's wearing an animal skin. She's some kind of an outcast. And they're like, no. We don't want you here, go away. So she tried many different ashrams and no one would accept her. And finally she came to one ashram of a wise Muni who saw not only her external dress, but he saw the simple simplicity of her heart. And he allowed her to come in and he allowed her to accept some service. So remember, in this retreat we're talking about embracing yourself freely and fully, right? So here's Sabari embracing herself, understanding and accepting herself in this whole new identity. Now she's going to be living with sadhus, right? But these 100 disciples of this Muni, they were disturbed. They didn't want her there. They were sectarian. And they're thinking, why is our guru allowing this outcast woman to come in here into our ashram? And they discriminated against her. But still she just kept on sincerely serving. And this kind of reminds me of Srila Prabhupada because he saw the sincerity of our hearts. And I believe he heard our cries also. And, his Guru Maharaj and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught that Krishna consciousness should be shared all over the world without discrimination. But even some of Prabhupada's own godbrothers, the disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, they criticized our Srila Prabhupada for accepting Western people, for engaging women in service. They were very critical. Some of them wouldn't even take prasadam in our temples because that's being cooked by lectures. No, we can't eat that stuff. So yeah, it reminds me of Srila Prabhupada. So after many years, the disciples of her guru kind of got used to her being there. They still didn't really like that she was there. But finally the guru said, now it's time for us all to go back to the spiritual world. And these divine, there's swans out here, these divine swan airplanes descended from the spiritual world to take them away. And the Guru Maharaj and all his disciples were going away, and Shabari is saying, she's being left behind. And she was crying, what about me? Won't you take me with you? And the Guru said, no, you're not ready. Whoa. He said, you're not ready. Then what will I do here without you? And her Guru told her, you keep doing your service here each day. And one day, your Lord will come here and accept your service. Do your service in the mood. I think it's a really beautiful instruction for all of us. Do your service, whatever it is, in the mood that today my Lord is coming. Today my Lord is coming. And so her guru took off his garland that he was wearing. He hung it on a wall, and he said, this is an ever-fresh mystical garland that will never fade. And he said, whenever you begin to lose faith, look at this garland, and it will remind you to have faith. And so I believe we've also been given a garland of faith from our gurus, from Srila Prabhupada, to have faith in their words. In their teachings, the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, the teachings of Lord Krishna. So every day, she's sweeping the path of the ashram, looking down the path, expecting, maybe today my Lord will come. Isn't that a beautiful consciousness? Maybe today my Lord will come. And she's keeping the ashram clean, she's sweeping the path, she's remembering the words of her guru. And this daily practice that we call, daily practice is sadhana bhakti, a Sanskrit term. It means daily practice of some kind of practice. Like Meg and I were talking about, just offer a flower. It's not an empty ritual. You do it with love, right? It's beautiful. So this daily practice, it's a practice of gratitude. When we show up each day in gratitude to show him what? To show our sincerity. I am trying. I may be a mess, I may be making a million mistakes, but I am trying. And in the anticipation that one day my Lord will come. One day my Lord will come. So as the story goes, eventually she became old, crippled, almost blind. Her black hair turned white. And one day, Lord Ram and his brother Lakshman, who you might remember if you know the story, they had been exiled to the forest. So one day they're walking along the forest path, and they saw this beautiful, peaceful ashram with a path that was swept so beautifully, clean every day, so nicely. And Ram said to Lakshman, I wonder who's living here. We should go and see. So they came in and they met Shabari. And I said, she's almost blind now. And after so many years, she couldn't recognize them. And they told her they were Ram and Lakshman. And she realized, this is my Lord who I've been serving, waiting for him to come for so many years. And this is the part of the story you might have heard before. Some people say it's a legend, but I think it's got a good instruction for all of us. So her love for Ram was on such a high level, spontaneous love, Not like us that we're in mostly rules and regulations. I gotta do this, right? So she's on this spontaneous level of love. And she's picking a certain fruit that grew there next to her ashram. She's biting into it to see if it's sweet. If it's not sweet, she throws it down. And if it's sweet, she gives it to Lord Ram. So she's she's on such a beautiful level of love. If she bites it, if it's sweet, she gives it to him. And he's eating them, right? Yeah. So Ram is so pleased by her simple, pure devotion. He's glancing at her, and he transformed her back into a beautiful young girl. He gave her a spiritual body, and then he sent her back to the spiritual world. So you see, Lord Ram also had no discrimination against her because he only saw her heart. He saw her sincere service and her faith in the promise of her guru. So I'm suggesting that maybe we can also have that kind of a simple, sincere faith in the words of scripture, in the words that Krishna speaks in the Gita, faith in our gurus, and in continuing to keep a gratitude practice of the sadhana, daily sadhana practice, in this mood that he's coming. My Lord is coming. Today or tomorrow, my Lord is coming. Just like a simple, sincere child, as Jesus Christ said, right? Sabari entered the kingdom of heaven. Just like a simple, sincere child. So, let's see, we've got a little bit more time here. There's a beautiful instruction that Lord Ram gave that I want to share with you. Maybe you've heard this before. That he said, and this is repeated in many places, it's repeated in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, many, many places, Ram's famous promise. He said that if anyone, even Ravana is like this quintessential bad guy. He's the one who kidnapped Ram's wife Sita, right? So Ram said, if anyone, even Ravana, comes before me and sincerely says, my dear Lord, for so long I've forgotten you, but from this day, I am remembering you. From today, I'm surrendering unto you. I am yours. So Ram said, even if Ravana, anybody have a Kleenex? And he said, even if Ravana came and said that, he would accept him. And so, and he said, thanks. Somehow, always get sniffles. Thank you very much. Yeah, so he said, if someone comes sincerely and says, I am yours, from this day I am yours, he said, I will accept that person, even Ravana, and I will award that person courage. Excuse me. So we can believe his words on the path of bhakti, and if we do that, we come before the deity, or come into our heart space and sincerely say, my dear Lord, for so long I've forgotten you. You can do it at home. You can do it in front of a picture. You can do it in the temple. For so long I've forgotten you, but from this day, I'm yours. I'm accepting you. Please accept me. So you want to try it? You want to repeat it? Okay. So try repeating this after me. My dear Lord. My dear Lord. Try to say it with your sincerity of your heart. Okay? The sincerity that you have at this moment, right, Shameshwari? The sincerity that you have at this moment. Yeah? Okay. My dear Lord. My dear Lord. For so long I have forgotten you. For so long I have forgotten you. But from today, from this day, I am surrendering unto you. I am surrendering unto you. Please accept me. Please accept me. From this day, I am yours. I am yours. Thank you. Feels good, right? Yeah. Sherry likes it. Okay. So in conclusion, the theme of our retreat is embracing yourself fully and freely. And I believe that we can take steps in that direction and begin to freely and fully lean in, to turn back around, to embrace our true identity as an eternal, joyous, dancing spark of spiritual energy, Krishna's energy, to turn around to embrace and be embraced by the one who loves us the most, and embrace a new identity. You know, what about embracing a new identity like Shabari did? She left that old identity behind. She embraced a new identity. So to embrace and be embraced by the one who loves us the most and has always loved us the most for who we really are, his tiny, beloved spirit sparks. And I have more stories, but should we stop for Q&A? We have about half an
You have 45 minutes.
Okay. So
I
I
lied,
want
half an hour. You're right.
half an hour. Okay. So I want to leave some time for Q&A. So maybe I'm going to share a couple more stories. If that's right, like stories. Okay. So there's another story about Sita Devi, the wife of Lord Ram. And this story is about Sita, Hanuman, the hunter, the tiger, and the bear. So after Sita had been kidnapped by Ravana, maybe some of you or maybe many of you know the story. She refused to go into the palace of Ravana at Lanka, where he lived, his kingdom, where he had all these other women who he captured and put in his harem, right? He had a bunch of women who had submitted to him. They were his harem, and they were all in the palace. But she refused to go in there, and she's outside in this garden of Ashoka trees. There are these kind of very tall trees that have many Ashoka trees. So why didn't he just grab her and take her, right? Well, he'd been cursed by this woman who was a woman sadhu. She was a saintly woman, I believe in the forest. Her name was Vedavati. And she cursed him when he tried to grab her and rape her. She cursed him that if you ever again try to take a woman by force, that you will die, you will fall down dead. So he had to wait for a woman to submit to him, right? So here's Sita Devi, she wouldn't submit to him. She's outside in this Ashok grove, and she's being encircled and verbally tormented. You know how kids always say, sticks and stones will break my bones, but words can never hurt me? Well, it ain't true. Don't believe it, because words can hurt more than sticks and stones. So these female guards of Ravana, they're verbally tormenting her, walking around her, continuously saying, come on, give it up. Ravana's so great, he's our king, he'll take good care of you, just submit to him, And she just wouldn't, So she's so brave, actually. And I think there's stereotypes of Sita, where she seems like this kind of, wilting violet or something, but she was fiercely brave. So here's, maybe you know this part of the story. So Hanuman jumped across the ocean. He was on this mission to find his Lord Ram's wife Sita, and he found her in Lanka. And he's the greatest devotee of Lord Ram. And again, Hanuman's not a high caste person. He's not even a human. He's a monkey. And he took this great leap across the ocean, Indian Ocean, to Lanka. And there he finds Sita Devi, where she'd been kidnapped and taken there by Ravana. So Hanuman tells Sita, just jump on my back, and I'll carry you back to Ram. And she said, no, Hanuman, I'll wait for my Ram to come and get me himself. I mean, she's so classy, right? I'll just wait for him to come and get me himself. Although she's practically dying of separation from Ram, right? And she's being tormented every minute by Ravana's guards. So Hanuman told her, no, I'll kill them all. And Sita said, no, Hanuman, I'm not like that evil hunter. And Hanuman didn't know that story, so he said, well, what hunter is that? And so Sita told him the story of the hunter, the tiger, and the bear. Story. So once there was a hunter out hunting in the forest, and as he was walking, he felt a presence behind him. And he turned around, and it was a tiger. So he really quickly climbed a tree to escape the tiger. And then he looked up above himself in the branches of the tree, and he saw that there was a bear. So there's a tiger below and a bear above him. And in those days, animals spoke to humans and humans spoke to animals. So the tiger spoke up and he said, "My dear hunter, it's evening time now. It's my dinner time, and I'm very hungry. And I don't really care if I eat a man or a bear. So why don't you just pull on the leg of that bear so he falls off the tree and I can eat him?" So, let's see. He was telling that to the hunter, right? And so then the hunter's pulling on the leg of the bear to get him to fall down off the tree. And the bear fell down a few feet and caught on the lower branch of the tree. And then the tiger spoke to the bear and he said, "Bear, did you see that?" He spoke like he was in the hood, you know. "Did you see that?" Anyway, he said, the cruel hunter said, he said, "That cruel hunter just tried to make you fall off the tree so I could eat you. Why don't you just push him down off the tree so I can eat him?" But the bear said, "No, tiger. You see, this tree is my home. And this hunter, even though he's cruel, he is a guest in my home. So I will not push him off this tree." And the tiger had to go away hungry that night. So you see the culture, like Radha was talking about dharma or righteous action, right? So you can see such righteousness, even from a bear. Yeah, so Sita told Hanuman she wasn't like that cruel hunter, even though she was being tormented by those women guards of Ravana. She's a guest in their kingdom, and they were only trying to serve their king. Like, who was it that said, somebody said yesterday about their parents, I forget, one of the women here said, "I realized they were just trying their best." They made a mess of the family, but they were just trying their best. Anyway, so they're just trying to serve their king. So the bear was following Dharma, and she understood that she's a guest in the kingdom, and she did not want the powerful Hanuman to kill them, even though they were so cruel to her. So a great trouble to herself. She did not want to cause any pain to others, even though, they were causing pain to her. Such a saintly goddess of compassion, right? Sita Devi. So here's another one. Okay, this is a shorter one, but this one's nice too. So once Sita Devi was traveling in a palanquin, and palanquin means it's got carriers, like one on each side, and curtains, so nobody can see who's being carried inside. So she's going through this kingdom, and the people on the sides of the road, they realized this is the great Sita Devi, the wife of Lord Ram, and they really wanted to see her and have her darshan. And so she didn't know what to do, and so she asked Ram, what should she do? So Ram said something really wise that I think you'll all appreciate. He said, "Show yourself to them." He said, "A woman is not protected by any cloth covering her, but rather by her own good qualities." So actually Srila Prabhupada said this also, that women should be protected, right? But saintly women will be protected by their own good qualities. Right? And here's just one more thing, and then we'll stop for Q&A. So before Ram killed the evil Ravana, Ravana's saintly brother Vibhishana came and surrendered to Ram. And all the monkey soldiers of Lord Ram, they're like, "Nah, I don't think so. He could be a spy. He could be a spy from Ravana. I don't think we should accept him." But there was only one of those great monkey warriors, Hanuman. Because when someone is pure in heart, they can also recognize when someone else is pure in heart. So he said, no, he's pure in heart and he wants to come and serve Ram. So Ram told Vibhishana, which is the brother of Ravana, right? Ram told Vibhishana, I will make you the king of Lanka. And this is before Ravana was killed, right? So somebody said, one of the monkeys said, well, what if Ravana surrenders to you? Then what are you going to do? And Ram said, then I will make Ravana the king of my city of Ayodhya. And someone said, but you already made your brother Bharat the king of Ayodhya. And Ram said, then I will make Bharat the king of Vaikuntha, which is the spiritual world. Vaikuntha is a word for the spiritual world. It means the place of no suffering. Kunta means suffering. Vaikuntha means the place of no suffering. So he said, I will make my brother Bharat the king of the spiritual world. So that's kind of a beautiful thing. So this is the gratitude of our Lord. If we take shelter of Him, surrender to Him, dedicate our lives to His service, then He will also accept us and give us the world. Even if we've rejected Him and offended Him so many times in the past in millions of ways, right? So, so these are a few thoughts from the pastimes of the Ramayana. And I just wanted to see if any of you have any questions or reflections or introspections or yes.
I'm curious about the Ashoka tree. So I know that Ashoka, am I saying it right?
Mm-hmm.
Ashoka, it's used in Ayurvedic medicine for survivors of sexual assault. And I'm just wondering if
How
maybe
interesting.
there's a connection to the story.
Isn't that interesting?
Because this is the first time.
So she's saying that she's heard that in Ayurvedic medicine there's a connection between Ashoka trees and they're used in Ayurvedic medicine to help survivors of sexual assault.
You add it into your bath water.
You add it into your bath water. So isn't that interesting? I've never heard that before, but isn't that interesting? Maybe there's some protection by the growth of trees. Maybe they were protecting Sita. It's very beautiful.
Wow, yeah.
Very beautiful. Thank you for that.
There's so much symbolism in
So
all
much.
this, all this good
So
stuff.
much beautiful
That's cool.
symbolism and subtle science. Yeah. What else? Reflection or question or complaint or anything? We have a little bit of time left. Something about waking up in the morning or gratitude or curiosity. Curiosity only killed the cat when the cat was curious about mundane things like, how am I going to drink that milk that's up on the counter in the kitchen, you know? But not the big why questions, you know? Yeah. Audrey?
Thank you so much for the one of my, I think the biggest takeaway for me from your presentation is that the suffering introduces us to ourselves. And I want
Could you say that again? The suffering?
Introduces us to ourselves.
Yeah, suffering introduces us to ourselves.
And maybe you can elaborate, or maybe somebody has some.
Yeah, maybe somebody has something to share about that. Because the last statement was we can choose through our suffering to be broken, destroyed, or broken open to a whole new identity. Right?
Actually, I was like, wow, when you said it, and then I'm like, oh, because often suffering is that we hold on something which is not serving us. There's something, and letting go, but it's often some kind of unhealthy attachment or unhealthy.
Yeah. We call suffering, Madhuri's saying, we call suffering something that is not serving us. But we have, I think maybe
But
many
holding on to something which is not something.
holding on to,
And then, and we want to let go. And we suffer because it's not easy to let go.
holding on to something that's not serving us. We're trying to let go of it, but
And just my
maybe it's not the time. Maybe, I think probably most of us, or many of us, have heard stories or maybe known people ourselves that that cancer was, there was people who said that cancer was the best thing that ever happened to me. You go, what? You know, that people who were broken open by some tragic loss or suffering or illness or, yeah, anybody want to share anything? Yes.
I think for me, going through the times that were the hardest for me, it pushed me to realize I needed to take shelter. And so the suffering...
Let me just repeat that.
Yeah.
So she's saying that the times of suffering were the times that, could you repeat it?
I realized I needed to take shelter.
Those are the times she realized that she needed to take shelter. And maybe that's the reason for suffering in this world. You know, we think, you know, life is but a dream, row your boat gently down the street. But why is there suffering? And all the big theologians are always arguing about this. But maybe the reason is so that we will turn to Krishna or God by any name. Maybe that's because, let's face it, everybody, this is not my home. This is not our eternal home. And you know, Krishna loves us so much, he wants us to come back. He actually misses us. And he's waiting to, we're talking about embracing, right? He wants to embrace us. You know, that Brihad Bhagavatamrita, there's a beautiful pastime where this one soul is wandering through the material world, looking around, and he finally comes back to the spiritual world, and Krishna just hugs him. Where were you? I miss you so much. So maybe that's the reason for suffering, because it's like a little slap. Wake up. Who you really are, you know. Wait, where's that song? Where's Shameshwari? Oh, well, anyway, this group that she plays with in New York, they sing, wake up to who you really are. Anyway, it's a great song. But maybe that's the reason, because that's when we turn inward. That's when we turn and cry out to Krishna. Otherwise, we'll go on our merry way. You know, we could stay here forever and ever. What do you guys think? Any other? Yes. Shaban,
I think people with chronic pain can understand you can choose to be bitter and inward, or you can choose to live. And
Shraddhanjali is saying that people with chronic pain can understand you can either choose to be bitter or you can choose to live.
yeah, and there have been, I think it's only because I had strong Christian consciousness, or sometimes when my pain is so bad that you can only watch the sun move across the ceiling. You can't chant, you can't read, you can't listen, you can't do anything. But I heard in a lecture, for some reason I remembered that there's nothing outside of Krishna. It's all his energy. The pain is actually his energy.
The pain is actually Krishna's energy.
And my husband had been in a bad car accident, and he had taught me how to, swim into the pain and through it.
How to swim into the pain and swim through it.
Instead of, trying to stop it. Surf it,
Surf the pain.
Surf the pain, and that when I started to think of that pain, which was excruciating at times, that if that was Krishna's energy, then I was experiencing Krishna intensely.
Wow. So the pain was excruciating, and if that's Krishna's energy, she was experiencing Krishna intensely. Wow.
And it was a mercy, because I'm incredibly selfish, incredibly lazy, and I would be so much more than I would have been if Krishna hadn't been knocking me on the head every day, going, wake up, you're not,
Wow.
I would.
So it's not true, but she's saying she's incredibly selfish, she's incredibly lazy. I'm just repeating.
That's how much of a rascal I am. I have to have daily pain
Wow.
to understand it, but I don't begrudge the pain. It's actually Krishna's mercy.
So she's saying that's how much a rascal she is, that she has to have daily pain and she doesn't begrudge the pain because she's seeing it as a form of Krishna. That's very profound. Wow. Thank you so much. I don't think you're a rascal. I don't think you're selfish. I don't think
And
you're...
that's 30 years of learning.
Wow, beautiful. What else? Yes.
Well, just a lot of the different things you were speaking about, just I was reminded of a lot of the acronyms I've learned through the 12-step program. Like the one GOD is like the gift of desperation.
Gift of G-O-D, the gift of desperation. Wow.
And then fear is there's two. One is face everything and recover, or F everything and run.
Face everything and so fear, the acronym for fear. Face everything and recover, or F everything and
Run.
and run.
So yeah, there's a lot of good acronyms.
Beautiful. Well, they're good books for helping us remember, you know.
Yeah. And also that prayer you had us, repeat. There's another one in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that's, I won't say the Bengali, but that's one, I don't know that many verses, but I do know that one. So, but it's, my dear Lord Krishna, although I have forgotten you for so many long years in this material world, today I am surrendering unto you. I am your sincere and serious servant. Please engage me in your service.
That's the same prayer.
Oh, it's the same one.
It's really beautiful.
It's
Right?
just said-
Say it again, and I'll repeat it. In the microphone. Okay. My dear Lord
My
Krishna,
dear Lord Krishna, although I have forgotten you for so many long years
although I've forgotten you for so many long years
in this material
in
world,
this material world,
today I am surrendering unto you.
today I am surrendering unto you.
I am your sincere and serious servant.
I am your sincere and serious servant.
Please engage me in your service.
Please engage me in your service. I am yours.
Yeah, I don't remember that part.
Nice,
Yeah.
beautiful, super beautiful. And then he says, if you say that sincerely, he will award you courage. So if you ever feel like you need a good dose of courage, that's the path to courage. That's, believe it, you know. Recommendation, remedy to get courage. Anything else? Yes, Jenna.
I can't know everyone in this room, but I'm going to guess that a lot of us are immense givers. I think that suffering sometimes is the only way to get a giver to stop and receive.
So Jen is saying that many of us as women, we tend to be givers, and so maybe suffering is one of the only ways that we can stop and receive from others. Wow, that's really profound. Thank you. Jen is a caregiver, so thank you. That's very profound. Thank you. So much is coming up. Brittany?
I was just going to say, because when you allow others to give to you, that becomes a gift for them. They get to be the giver. So that is so beautiful.
Yeah, when you allow other people to give to you.
When you receive, you let that person be the giver, and that becomes their honor. So you're really allowing them to have that honor.
You allow them to have the honor of giving to you. That's so counterintuitive for women who are always giving, right? Very beautiful, yeah.
I was thinking when you had talked about the Brihad Bhagavatam story with Krishna hugging, I believe, Gopakumar, I had a thought that Krishna could hug us in the material world by having us be around devotees. Like, devotees is our hug from Krishna, because it's so sweet to develop those relationships once we, develop this, we start developing ourselves on this path. Well, it can seem so hard in the material world to connect, but having devotees is like that hug.
Let me repeat that. That was super beautiful. So having saintly people, let's not just say devotees, which might sound like we're only talking about Hare Krishna, Susaja Prabhupada.
Yeah.
So having holy people or saintly people around us is like, it's like getting a hug from God.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Super beautiful. So many treasures. You're all treasure chests. What else? Yes, Katie.
I was thinking also about this morning, we were talking about, finding true belonging in God, and we all belong to God, and we can feel loved, valued, and respected, because that's how he is to us. And also the childlike things, like embracing ourselves joyfully, freely, fully. That's how Krishna is to us. And if I don't...
Wait just a second. Embracing ourselves fully, joyfully, freely. That's Krishna's...
How he is to us.
How Krishna is to us.
Yeah, so...
How he is embracing us.
Yeah, so if I don't embrace myself fully and freely, then I'm forgetting him.
Wow.
You know?
Beautiful realization. If I don't embrace myself fully and freely, then I'm forgetting Krishna and forgetting how he sees me. I'm trying to put a blinder on and see myself the way I see me, but I'm not seeing myself the way Krishna sees me so lovingly. Beautiful. Wow. More treasures, please. We have a few more minutes. We can have some more treasures. Anybody else have a story to tell? Yes, some project.
Oh, I just thought of a couple more things.
Okay.
I just thought of another acronym for God, for G-O-D, is good orderly direction.
Good orderly direction.
Yeah.
And the other one was desperation, gift of desperation. Beautiful. Wow.
And then, like what Jenna was saying about, I just had a little example of that I experienced last night, because my husband, he had a stroke at the end of December, and he's not been real well. And, I've been...
The Gopa saying her husband had a stroke at the end of December and he hasn't been really well.
And he's, I feel like I'm always doing everything for him, and, he doesn't really do much for me. But last night I had a headache, and I really had a bad headache, and I was laying on the couch, and, I was gonna sleep there because there's all kinds of stuff going on in my bedroom. So I asked him to bring me a pillow, and I had one blanket, and he just said, do you need another blanket? And he was just so nice to me for the first time, and, doing anything like that for me. He went and got me another blanket and got me the pillow, and, was having some concern for me, which is rare.
Wow.
And
So,
it just totally reminded me of what she said.
so Gopa's appreciating the acts of kindness that he was shown to her.
Yeah, by being, not, when you're not doing well.
When you're not doing
And you need some care, it's a good opportunity.
Good opportunity. Of course, there's a famous story of Prabhupada at New Vrindaban. When, you tell it. So, I tell it? Okay. You tell it, Gopa.
No, let someone else tell it.
Okay. So here's Gopa. Little Gopa, how old were you at the time?
Oh, about 20.
So little Gopa's about 20, 21. And she's sitting in Prabhupada's talk here at New Vrindaban, and it was a little bit of a cold evening, right?
It didn't seem too cold, but it was evening. It made a little chill in the air.
A little chill in the air. And Prabhupada turned to you and
Just asked, are you all right?
Prabhupada asked, are you all right?
He asked a couple times, because I didn't imagine he was speaking to me.
He was speaking to little her.
So he said it a couple times, are you all right? And then I just went like this.
Like me?
He said, have you got sufficient cloth?
Have you got sufficient cloth?
Yeah, because I didn't have a chadar on, and most devotees did. I just had a thin sari.
She didn't have a chadar on, she just had a thin sari on.
Yeah, I actually thought he said, such a thin cloth. But it was written down by Harisari. He recorded it, and he said, have you got sufficient cloth?
Have you got sufficient cloth?
Yeah, and then he started addressing the temple president, how we must find out if the women have everything they need.
Ah.
Because back then there was no gift shop or...
Or temple.
You have to find out if the women have sufficient, what they need.
And he
Yeah.
said once a month you should ask them.
Once a month you should
Make
ask.
sure they have everything they need.
Make sure they have everything. So sweet. Go to sleep. What else? Anything else? Yes.
Just
Eileen?
some words of gratitude to you.
Oh.
You gave an instruction, as you did today, about how to wake up. And so I started doing that. I was in ups and downs and very much in hibernation this winter. And I really wasn't seeing the wonder and the beauty. And so when you recommended the gratitude in the morning, the first thing I do before I put my feet on the floor, and I say it out loud so I can hear it, and I know Krishna can hear it no matter what, but I say it out loud. It has absolutely transformed the way that my day goes because of that 3 minute, 1 minute, 5 minutes. I just talk, in that, and it's silly stuff too, but it really has transformed me.
So Eileen was saying that gratitude intention first thing in the morning before she even puts her foot on the floor has really transformed her day, her life. Yeah, it's because it sets you off in the right, pulse or direction, right, of your day. Yeah. Instead of not enough. What about me? Thank you. And then it's surprise from that moment on, because it's a whole new day. And then, yeah.
Speaking of surprises, so in the beginning we were talking about curiosity, right? And like accepting Krishna, and it reminded me of a class I heard you give where you were quoting somebody else, and the idea was every morning ask God to surprise you. Do you remember this? Do you remember that? Like Robert maybe something? I don't know if you remember. Okay, so you were saying every morning you can ask God to surprise you. So I was like, because I guess
every morning you can ask God to surprise you.
Yeah, so I guess I was feeling a little routine or mundane in my spiritual life. It was kind of getting boring, So I was like, are you really there? Because I'm just doing all these things. But I need some live action. Anyway, so
She needed some live action. That's on the recording. She needed some live action.
I just want you to know that works. Every single time I remember to ask Krishna to surprise me, and by the way, it's implied that it has to be a good surprise.
It's implied that it has to be a good surprise.
And it works amazing.
Give us an example.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love hearing those. I love hearing stories like that.
What did you say, Jenna?
I said, I had a kitten that way.
A kitten that way.
I got a kitten that way.
Do you want to share what your surprises?
No, it happens on
On a regular basis.
Yeah, I can't think of one now, but it's always something that I really would have never, because sometimes I'll forget that I asked about the surprise.
Yeah.
And then something really cool will happen. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, this morning I asked him this, that was a surprise.
Yeah, so remember what I said earlier, that there's nothing more magical or more mystical than the surprise of being loved. So,
Yeah.
remember
I
that.
didn't remember that, so I'm glad.
Thank you. Anybody else? Any more treasures to pop up here from the treasures of your hearts before we turn this over to a wild dance? Yes.
Did your son compose a song based on that prayer, Krishna,
Yeah.
I am yours.
Yeah, he sings that. Krishna, I am yours. Kind of a Zydeco, I think, something kind of thing. He's got some good ones. Yeah. Anything else? Thank you all so much. Hare Krishna.